Pandas Get Dummies. You're going to use this function a ton in machine learning and other data science techniques. Now, what this will do is take a column within your data frame that's filled with labels or categorical variables. This could be like Bob, Sally, Katie. And it's going to turn those into what we call dummy variables or indicator columns. It may sound confusing, but let's jump into it first. So first thing I'm going to do here is import pandas as PD. I'll import right there. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a data frame. Now, this data frame is going to have two types of columns. One is going to be a column of labels, like these restaurant names, and the other column is going to be a column of numbers, like the amount here. But what I want to do is I want to take this categorical column and I want to turn it into I'm going to call Get Dummies and turn it into indicator columns filled with ones and zeros. So I'll get a 1. Well, let's just jump into it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a dummy indicator columns. And the way that you do this is you call pandas.getDummies, and then you're going to pass the data frame of data that you have, and you're going to specify the column name that you want to create your dummy variables from. Let me run this. And now what you can see here is my name column has been dropped, and in its place, there are 3 new columns. And there's 3 columns because there was 3 distinct values in my name column here. And the interesting part is that I'll get a 0 if that row did not contain the column name, and I'll get a 1 if the row did contain that column name. So for example here on 500 Club, you can see it's 0010 because Foreign Cinema is not 500 Club, Liho is not 500 Club, and then here on our third row, we do have 500 Club. So that's why we get our 1 right here. And then finally, Foreign Cinema is 0 because it wasn't that. Now we move over to the Foreign Cinema column, and you'll see that we get 1001 because we have Foreign Cinema, not Foreign Cinema. Liho, same thing. We have 0100, and then we have not Foreign Cinema or not Liho, 00. Okay. Now, say for example, I have this name that's what we call a prefix. And this is name underscore and then the name of your value that was within your column. But say, for example, I don't like the word name and I want to call it something else. Say I want to call it DMY for dummy. Well, what I can do here is I can call pandas.getDummies, pass the same information as before, but here I'll pass DMY, which is what I want my prefix to be. I'll go ahead and run this, and you can see here that DMY is the prefix on top of the column name. Now, if you wanted to get super specific, say you don't like this little underscore in between right here, and you wanted to do it something special for yourself, well, that's fine. You could still have your same prefix, and then here I'm going to specify a prefix separator. And this means what is the thing that's going to be separating your prefix and your column names, and here I'll do an asterisk. Go ahead and run that, and you can see here that I have my prefix, and I have my asterisk, and then I have my column name of what I had beforehand. Now, the last thing we'll talk about is it's a bit more of a confusing example, but what you can do is you can specify a parameter here called drop first. And instead of explaining it, I'm just going to run this first. And what we have here is we've actually dropped the first indicator column. So let's go back up to the top here and let's see what our first one was. It was actually 500 Club. Now, for example, 500 Club only had 1 positive indicator, and this is on row 3, and then Foreign Cinema and Liho were zeros. Let's scroll down to the bottom, and you can see here that 500 Club column has been dropped, and what's left and how we know that 500 Club was in that specific spot is because Foreign Cinema and Liho were zeros. Now, I don't use this very often, and if you ever do, please @ me on Twitter and let me know exactly the use case that you had. This one's not used very often. So that is Pandas Get Dummies. It is very widely used within machine learning and other data science techniques.